College football in the 21st century, isn't it amazing? We've got a fun little NIL update on a couple of quarterbacks. It says here Xavier Worthy showed off Quinn Ewers' new car, complete with burnt orange leather interior and padded shifters, on his Insta story. There you can see the car, the tweet, NIL luxury car update. Bijan Robinson has a Lamborghini. It says CJ Stroud with a Bentley, but apparently CJ Stroud did not choose a Bentley. There's this tweet we've got here. It says Ohio State QB CJ Stroud signed an NIL deal, not for the Bentley, but for a $200,000 Mercedes G-Wagon. We got to get that right. The car was a game day decision, and he can swap out vehicles every 45 days. So this is just another classic funny NIL story. Apparently he was going to go with the $150,000 Bentley, but he said, you know what? I want the G-Wagon. It's a little bit more. It's a little bit bigger, nicer interior, more spacious, right? CJ Stroud is a big quarterback. He needs room. And apparently, according to this deal that he signed, he can swap out for a different vehicle every 45 days. It's funny that all this stuff is public, considering, especially at Alabama in specific, we saw a lot of the, players drive around in extremely nice cars. Now it's wide open. It's also interesting with Quinn Ewers. You're going to see a lot of this where Quinn Ewers has not started a single game in college football. He's taken 2 total snaps, but he signed multiple massive NIL deals due to his recruiting status, due to the fact that he was the number 1 overall player. He was a 5-star. The recruiting status is going to start meaning a lot more to these recruits because it will get them better deals before they even play a snap in college. So it's interesting how recruiting is playing even more and more in college football. Obviously it was very important to sign a lot of 5-stars, things like that. But now even with the kids, your recruiting ranking can have an effect on how much money you make. Quinn Ewers has not started a game, but he's getting all these NIL deals because there's a projection, because there's a popularity with Quinn Ewers, because he's such a highly ranked college football recruit. He was the number 1 overall recruit in the class of 2023, the class of 2022, reclassified to the class of 2021, ended up going to Ohio State and then transferred to Texas. And in all that time frame, he's taken 2 college snaps, but he's getting massive NIL deals. He's getting brand new cars, things like that. And then CJ Stroud, this is an NIL situation here with CJ where he's a guy. He waited his turn. He sat behind Justin Fields for a year, and then as a redshirt freshman, he came in, struggled a little bit early, but under the tutelage of Ryan Day, had an amazing, amazing season, and now he currently is the front runner for the Heisman Trophy, and this is CJ Stroud using name, image, likeness to his advantage. This is totally standard. This is how NIL should operate. It's just a funny little story I saw on Stroud. Another thing I wanted to get to, here we go. We've got an update from the NCAA. They're clarifying the impact of NIL violations on eligibility. This article talks about the NCAA Enforcement Office sending a letter to its member schools regarding NIL violations. According to documents acquired by Sports Illustrated, the message includes guidelines for how to identify and report violations and says the organization is, quote, working tirelessly to develop information and investigate potential violations of NCAA rules. The letter makes clear that the NCAA's goal in cracking down on NIL violations is not to attack the eligibility status of athletes, but to figure out who has participated in the alleged illegal activity. And this is what I've been saying from the beginning. Punish the schools, not the kids. That's why I've been lobbying for a 5-year bowl ban against Texas A&M. The kids can transfer or whatever. That whole situation would be a mess. I will say, if you've got such an influx of talent on Texas A&M and you slapped a bowl ban on them, It would be free agency. All those kids would be in the transfer portal. It would be a complete mess. Maybe some of them would stay because they have NIL deals. The whole thing would be a mess, but that's why I've stressed we don't want to take kids' eligibility away, even if they've gotten deals illegally from boosters. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to punish the university, not the player. The university gets punished, the booster gets punished, the school gets punished. The player can either stay at the school and deal with the bowl ban, or he can go into the transfer portal and start immediately at another school. I like this sentiment from the NCAA. Punish the school, not the player. Quote, the enforcement staff is not focused on the eligibility of current student athletes. The infractions process is primarily concerned with behaviors of institutional staff members and representatives, aka NIL collectives, aka boosters paying kids just to go to school somewhere. That's what they're talking about. The NCAA Enforcement Office also informs schools that it has been made aware of several instances, both public and otherwise, where schools suspect NIL inducement played a role in an athlete's decision. The letter identifies the challenges of controlling boosters and collectives, but calls for cooperation between the school and governing body to make things easier. Well, that sounds like a whole bunch of nothing. And enforcing the actual laws has been a big issue for the NCAA. That's why I have said, listen, why not just create a separate NIL, authority board? Turns out I don't even think the NCAA has enough money to do that. They've been laying people off. They have no one right now due to the pandemic. So it's a complete mess with the NCAA. And you can see it says enforcement of the NIL laws. The enforcement of NIL legislation has become a controversial issue, with some calling for federal assistance and others looking to the NCAA. Why federal assistance? I don't understand that. Why not just, again, maybe it's because they have no money. Why not just create a separate board to actually police this crap, where you create an NIL authority board and its one job is to police this stuff? The authority board comes together, they immediately bowl ban Texas A&M. It would scare a lot of boosters from illegally participating and weaponizing NIL. That's what it would do. But again, they're talking about, however, even after trips to the Capitol, no new updates have come in recent months. So yeah, they keep talking about, bringing it to Congress and stuff. I just don't understand. Let's just create a separate board to police it. Maybe they don't have the money. They probably don't. The NCAA is laying people off left and right. It is an absolute joke at this point. But guys, when it comes to the NIL, we all understand teams are participating in it illegally. We had hoped it was only going to be 2022, but it's looking like 2023 is going to be even worse than 2022, because some of these teams like Miami, like Florida, like Oregon, like Tennessee, they see that Texas A&M signed an absolute historic class through the full weaponization of NIL, and Texas A&M faces no penalties. There's nothing that happens to them, so we're going to see more and more schools adopt this type of weaponization of NIL, this type of, recruiting through boosters, giving kids money to go to different schools, which is the major issue NIL faces currently. This is just something funny that I saw. And I don't want to kill LSU, but this is funny. So Anthony Bradford explains the reason LSU will shock a lot of people in 2022. So I saw this headline and I was like, oh my God, that has to be the first analyst I've seen this year that's bullish on LSU. And I clicked on the article, and it's a freaking offensive lineman. So obviously he's going to say, we're going to shock the world. That's what every player should on every team. But it's just funny how that was like the first time I've seen, I had thought, Anthony Bradford was some analyst. He's just an offensive tackle. Obviously a player is going to say their team, Brian Kelly's a great coach, things like that. The bottom line with LSU, guys, nobody likes the situation currently. I haven't seen any national analysts come out and say Brian Kelly and LSU is a good fit. I think it's one of the worst hires in recent memory. Just Brian Kelly and LSU, it's a train wreck. It's like a nuclear bomb. You're watching a nuclear bomb get set off, and you're going to see it explode. It's going to explode, but right now it's in the air. It's just starting off in the air. Inevitably, it's going to explode. The situation is not good with Brian Kelly, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. So this is something with NIL that I really like to see. I think this is the exact way NIL should work. You know, I talked about the NFTs and how ridiculous that is, but this is legitimate here. It says Bryce Young, Stetson Bennett, Caleb Williams agree to NIL trading card deal with Topps. First of all, I don't know who would want a Stetson Bennett, rookie. I'm kidding. But you can see those three guys agree to deal. And with Caleb Williams, that's another situation of a guy who's only played a year, but he's already getting massive deals due to he had a very nice true freshman season, but also he was a top 5 overall recruit. It's going to be so important, especially with the quarterbacks, the way they can market themselves if they are ranked, within the top 10, even if they're just 5 stars. They don't even have to step on the field. They don't even have to have any college success. Just the fact that they're 5 stars makes them extremely marketable, and they'll be able to sign multi-million-dollar deals extremely quickly as true freshmen in college. It says Topps has secured NIL trading card rights with nearly 200 student athletes across college football and college basketball. Topps, along with its parent company, said it has reached NIL agreements with multiple college sports stars, including Bryce Young. The iconic trading card brand has also reached deals with Stetson Bennett, Bo Nix, and Caleb Williams. So this is great. Players sign cards, their rookie card, whatever. Fans buy those cards, or they buy packs or whatever, and they get those cards, and it's a way for fans to support players while also getting something. Right, the whole idea of NFTs and Georgia making these dog NFTs, and it's, I don't hate NFTs, but I'm really not a fan of digital assets. When you get sports cards, that's something you can collect. That's something you can invest into. Maybe you think Caleb Williams is going to be a really good quarterback. You can buy his card, his autograph, and then in 3 years, when he's the number 1 overall pick, you can sell it for more money. That is a physical thing you can own. And people like collecting them. So I think this is a great thing for NIL. This is exactly how it should work. Stetson Bennett's a proven quarterback. He won obviously he won the national title. Bryce Young, Heisman winner, and then Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, all of those guys are proven. This is the way an NIL healthy ecosystem should operate. You get kids into college, they make choices on where they're going to college based off of what's best for them, and then they're developed into really promising prospects, which at that point, they can benefit off of their NIL, name, image, likeness. But again, with situations like Quinn Ewers, you don't even have to prove you're a good college football quarterback. Just based off your recruiting ranking, people are going to want, your rookie card. They're going to want your autograph. That's just the way the prospects work nowadays. People will definitely take chances and say, well, if the recruiting service said he was the number 1 overall player, that must mean he's going to be a superstar quarterback. So NIL trading cards, I'm a fan of this type of stuff in terms of this is a healthy way to do NIL because fans genuinely do want autographs of Caleb Williams, of, maybe not Stetson. I'm making fun of Stetson Bennett, but he's just not a pro prospect in terms of NFL like Caleb Williams and Bryce Young and someone like CJ Stroud. And this is a way for those players to earn money off the fact that they are, maybe future superstar quarterbacks, and they've accomplished things in college. This is good to see when it comes to NIL. I thought that was a really good story, and it was a breaking story yesterday. They were talking about it on ESPN. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.